gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for all the many blessings you have given us. We gather to make decisions for our community. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is best for our community and our fellow citizens. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The fourth item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Rainey, second by Commissioner Lucas. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Johnson, roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas.
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson.
Aye.
Commissioner Burks.
Aye.
Mayor Blade.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 5, public hearings. Item 11A, Vice Mayor Rainey.
I'm sorry?
Resolution 33-19.
I'm so sorry. A resolution to annex certain territory upon written consent of the owners and to incorporate the same within the boundaries of the city of Fairview, Tennessee, 7109 County Line Road.
Is there anyone here to speak on the public hearing? Mr. Flake. State your name for the record, please.
My name is Ray Flake. I'm president of Civil Engineering Services. I live at 7705 Spicer Farm Lane here in Fairview.
Welcome, sir.
I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak? Does any of the board have any questions? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Item 6, citizens' comments. None tonight. Thank you, ma'am. Item 7, public announcements, awards, and recognitions. I believe Mr. Scott McCoy is present and has an update for us regarding the playground administration and project. Welcome, sir.
Greetings, everybody. Just wanted to give a few kind of updates on what's happened and what progress has been made since we started the playground project. We've had a couple of meetings in the regular Parks and Landscaping Board meeting. This past one that occurred Tuesday, we've actually got core committee and design selection committees populated. We've got about 10 people on each of the committees now. Although those, they're based on who's volunteered and who's come forward and expressed interest. Always interested in more ideas. So they're, because we've got people already starting these doesn't mean more people can't join if there's an interest. Our first true independent meeting of the playground project is going to be on October 16th. It will be here at City Hall at 6 p.m. We will have both the core and design selection teams here and possibly 1 or 2 vendor presentations, as well as taking more information to stand up the rest of the committee's other volunteers. We've got the website, the URL is established, the domain has been purchased, we've got the content management structure in place, the basic menuing system in place, so we should have that up and running. My goal is before the October 16th meeting. That will become a portal where people can see a calendar of upcoming meetings, exhibits from some of the vendor presentations, project progress, fundraising, all of those pieces. Contact information will all be in that central portal. In the meantime, before that website is set up, if anybody has particular questions about the meeting coming up or any wish to express interest in volunteering, they can reach me at my address here at the city at smccoy@fairview-tn.org. But the next big event will be October 16th here at 6 p.m. Wednesday. The update, unless there's any questions at this point. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. We do have a proclamation this evening, City of Fairview Proclamation, Family and Community Education Week, October the 13th through the 19th, 2019. Whereas the family is the core of society, and whereas the well-being of the family is dependent upon the development of the value system, and whereas the City of Fairview with Fairview Family and Community Education join voices in promoting FCE Week. Whereas the time that individuals have with their families fosters communication, love, and understanding within each family and strengthens their communities. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Fairview, Tennessee does hereby proclaim the week of October 13th through the October the 19th, 2019 as Family and Community Education Week. In Fairview, we urge all citizens to join Family and Community Education members to set aside quality time with your family. And I believe we have some members tonight from the Fairview Community Education group. If you'd meet me down front, I'll be proud to present you this proclamation. Item 8 on the agenda is staff comments and monthly reports. Police Chief, Chief Humphreys. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Go over our monthly report for last month, September 2019. You see our staffing issue there. We generally run at 21. We're down to 20 for the month. We have an officer on a leave, put us down in staffing a little bit. The change in our payroll system going to the 172 hours resulted in 0 overtime hours for this month. So that's working itself out. We're seeing those numbers drop significantly. Training hours is about consistent, 260 to the 298 from last month. Self-initiated calls last month, self-initiated and calls for service, 964 last month, 909 this month, pretty consistent. The arrests for the month dropped a little bit from 96 to 67. Largely that was a lot of court-issued arrests that come from the bench. The paperwork, we didn't serve a lot of those for the month. The domestics down to 0, DUIs 0. Drug charges stayed consistent there, 25 with 27, and a significant drop in our classification of thefts. The shopliftings were down dramatically for the month. Don't know the reason why, but they did drop. Citations, 96 for the month. Traffic accidents, again, a significant drop in that, down to 13, 12 property damage, only 1 injury, and as always, we're fortunate that there are no fatalities. We've not experienced that in a while. We're glad to hear that. We did some public relations events for the month. September 21st, we partnered with Walmart. Walmart had kind of a thing where they would take old car seats, give a gift certificate for the purchase of a new one. That's to try to promote cycling those car seats out that are out of warranty or out of date. We posted some officers there at tent and offered to install new car seats on that day. Then September the 30th, this was a big one for us, we launched our Internet Purchase Safe Exchange Location Program. Some of you have seen that on Facebook. The Facebookers seem to really like that idea. It's right down here in our parking lot below. We had a camera fixed on 2 parking spots. That's the exact sign that we put onto the spots. It was just by design to give people a place to meet up where they felt safe as exchanging with a stranger. And right now it's been well received. Additionally, we had 2 grant awards for the month. The Department of Justice Vest Grant, that's a matching grant for bulletproof vests, was $3,465. And then Tennessee Highway Safety was $15,000. We regularly apply for these each year and have gotten them. The $12,000 that's granted for overtime is outside of city payroll overtime. That's where they pay us to get up and do saturation for DUIs. We submit that separately, and they reimburse that. And then $3,000 is for equipment that we see fit for any type of enforcement for safety issues. And that is it for the month. Any questions?
Thank you, Chief. 8B, the fire report. Chief Hughes. Welcome, sir.
Mayor, Commissioners. For the month of September,
We had 84 calls, emergency calls. This is down a little bit from last year, but not much. We had 9 overlapping incidents that occurred this month. 3 automatic mutual aid incidents to surrounding departments. We had 4 incidents that required a fire to be extinguished. One was a dwelling fire, a couple motor vehicle fires, and 1 grass/brush fire. We had 11 public education interactions this month. For training, we had a total of 436 hours of training in September. And there's the breakdown of what that was. Most of the training is company training each month, and that's how it should be. For part of training this month, we had the driving simulator out from the State Fire Academy. It just lets our guys get behind the wheel of something, and it's computerized, so it's not totally accurate, but you can at least practice and controlled settings, and they throw some kids running out in the streets in front of you and balls bouncing and things like that. So it was a good thing for the guys to get behind and get something different in, where we're not just driving around trying to miss cones that are stationary. Again, if any residents need smoke detectors installed in their home, please call us. We'll come out and install them. Actually had 1 call today, so we'll be making an appointment tomorrow to install some for someone. Any questions?
Yeah, one quick question.
Commissioner
Chief Hughes, can you walk us through that structure fire, that residential structure fire, and just, that was a pretty close situation where a homeowner almost lost their home.
Yes, the homeowner was asleep. It happened early on a Saturday morning, I believe, same day as Nature Fest or one of those events. A neighbor saw the smoke. The residents were still inside asleep. Made the phone call to 911. Fire and police showed up. We were able to make a quick stop, but the back of the house was on fire. It had caught the deck on fire and was burning the back of the structure. The homeowner's room was right on the inside wall of where it was burning, and they had no idea. A neighbor happened to see it from, I guess, across the street in the neighborhood. They couldn't get into the backyard to see where it was, so they went around front to notify the homeowners and actually got them out. So it was one of those things where it's nice to have the station where it is right now, because where that fire was, we had a very quick response. It's going to be different if it's out across town somewhere away from us.
Would you venture to say probably within about 2 more minutes of that fire free burning that would have
It
probably
would've-
burnt the entire roof off of the structure?
It probably would have.
Yeah.
Fire grows, it doubles in size every minute that it's allowed to free burn, so.
Yeah. Just, once again, it is so nice to have public safety this close. 24 hours a day here in the city of Fairview, it would have been completely different. There could have been a loss of life in that situation. Certainly would have been a house that would have burned down. We can replace houses, that's no big deal, we understand that, but the pictures, all of the sentimental things in a house can never be recovered. So once again, as a resident here in Fairview, thank you.
And sorry, we were a little out of order on our call types, but they're listed. Again, medical is going to lead the group every month, running about 67 to 70% a month. There's the structure fires, motor vehicle accidents. We had 6 that we were called to. Again, no fatalities, as Chief Humphreys reported. The only other thing I want to make sure everybody knows, Fire Prevention Week is October 6th through the 12th. Our calendar is filling up with public education opportunities at the school. So if any of the daycares or schools want us to come out, just call down the station and set up a time, and we'll come out and talk to the kids and let them crawl in the fire truck and give them some fire helmets.
And Chief, there was a rumor with that fire that the police department got there first and actually put it out before you guys. Is that right?
They did get there first, and they put an extinguisher. They put 2 extinguishers on the fire, but I think it took the water to get it completely
They did
out.
help, okay.
But they did a great job.
Thank you, Chief. 8C, the Public Works Report.
Yes, members of the commission, 2 items for you tonight. First, as we discussed in the work session, the chipper service. The October is the last month for the scheduled chipper service. We just want to remind everyone to check the city's website, look under the Public Works Department. It will give them their weekly service via the routes. We will transition into the LEAP service in November. This website gives a little information on leaf pickup, the dates, the schedules, what to place and what not to place. We do have all this on the city's website, along with what to include for chipper services as well, so how those can be picked up. We will likely run an extra week at the end of October or beginning of November and announce that week to make sure there are no chipper debris that's been left out during the month, or remind everyone if they need anything to be chipped or cleaned up for the remainder of the year, it needs to be out at that time. So we'll schedule that and have that on the city's website. Secondly, I sent you an email. We'll have a demonstration of this in the second meeting in November for the BOC. But you may recall that we've talked for some time about stormwater management and how we identify flooding in flooded areas within the city during heavy rain events. One of the things that we talked about doing was an attempt to video that from the air, so we could see where that flooding came from, what the impact was, and be able to track it that way. We have purchased a drone, and the Public Works Director, Micah Sullivan, is now certified to operate that drone. Drone can fly it up to 400 feet. We will use that during substantial rain events to monitor flooding, stormwater, any types of runoff, so that we can better educate ourselves and follow up with the management of stormwater and stormwater violations as we proceed through our regulations and work as that applies. In addition to that, the drone has some additional capabilities. With this, we have the ability, obviously, to video, so we can video anything that we see. The drone has what they call a FLIR camera, or forward-looking infrared, so we can operate the FLIR at night and identify hotspots, activities. So if there's someone lost in the park, if we're looking to do anything of that sort, then we can identify people as we fly that. So we have the ability to use that for search and rescue for daytime and low light or no light scenarios. It has a light so that we can search and use the light. So if we see anything that we need to search, we can use the light just as a spotlight, as you see on a helicopter or any other thing. And it does have a speaker so that we can include recorded messages. So if we need to speak to someone, if we have someone who's out or we need to get a message to them, we can record that message. If you can see us, wave your hand, whatever the case would be, so we can get some reaction from them and know better the circumstance we have. So we're very glad to get that tool in service. I think that will offer benefits more than we know that we have now. Again, we'll have that demonstration for you the second week in November, and hopefully we only have to use it for its intended purpose, for education, so we can do a better job with our operations of the city, but just in case, we'd have an extra tool at our disposal. So that's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you, sir. Item 9, consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Lucas, second by Commissioner Dawson. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ms. Johnson?
Lucas,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Burks,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey,
Aye.
Mayor Blade.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 10, old business, we have none. Item 11, new business. A, Resolution 33-19. Vice Mayor Rainey.
Resolution to annex certain territory upon written consent of the owners and to incorporate the same within the boundaries of the city of Fairview, Tennessee, 7109 County Line Road. Motion to approve.
Have a motion by Vice Mayor Rainey, a second by Commissioner Burks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ms. Johnson?
Vice Mayor Rainey,
Aye.
Commissioner Burks,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas,
Aye.
Mayor Blade.
Aye. Motion passes. Item B, Ordinance 2019-25. Vice Mayor Rainey.
An ordinance amending the City of Fairview Municipal Code to authorize certain City of Fairview Fire Department personnel as special police officers with summons and complaint authority.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Dawson, second by Commissioner Burks. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, just an explanation. You may
Mr.
recall, You may recall that a few meetings back, we enacted a similar ordinance to allow a special officer within the planning department so we could go out and enforce our codes, weeds enforcement, codes regulations from that standpoint. What we have before you tonight is to approve similar powers by members of the fire department so that they can enforce the fire code. As an example, we have our fire marshal go out, they observe a violation, they would be able to issue a summons, not enact an arrest, but issue a summons to compel that violator to come to court and have to answer for that violation of the city's fire code. Currently, we have a fire code that describes enforcement, but there is no enforcement arm or no person other than a police officer who is eligible to enact that enforcement. This simply gives the fire department the ability to enforce through summons the fire code regulations within the city.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Dawson?
Aye.
Commissioner Burks?
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey?
Aye.
Mayor Blade?
Aye. Motion passes. Item C, Resolution 34-19. Vice Mayor Rainey.
A resolution of the City of Fairview, Tennessee, designating a vehicle or vehicles and/or equipment as surplus, authorizing the disposal of said vehicles or vehicles and equipment, and designating the auction or sale proceeds from surplus items. Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Rainey, second by Commissioner Dawson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ms. Johnson?
Vice Mayor Rainey?
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson?
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas?
Aye.
Commissioner Burks?
Aye.
Mayor Blade?
Aye. Motion passes. Item D, proposal for all board meetings open to the public to be recorded and posted to YouTube and/or broadcast on Facebook Live. Commissioner Lucas.
Thank you, Mayor. I sent all of you an email on this. In short, it came to my attention this last week that the only meetings that we were currently recording, posting online, were the BOC meetings and the Planning Commission meetings. The person that was asking was curious as to what was going on with the playground. This person was out of town working, I believe, and had gone on to, I guess, YouTube to try to see that meeting, to see what the updates were, and those meetings weren't on there. I began to look and notice that I think the last Park and Landscape Board meeting was recorded back in May. So this is just, for me, just kind of a no-brainer that we should be recording all of the public meetings, posting those on YouTube, as well as making those available live via Facebook. The engagement that we see from the community on the Facebook Live videos versus the YouTube videos, there's not even a comparison. As I sent in the email, the last 6 months of our YouTube videos for meetings has only seen 600 views total. One BOC meeting that was posted on Facebook Live not long ago has already seen over 3,000 views. So the engagement is much higher on Facebook. We have the equipment, so that would be my motion tonight, is that all meetings that are open to the public be recorded, later posted onto YouTube, as well as broadcast live on Facebook Live.
I guess my question would be, for some of the smaller boards, who's going to be the person responsible for doing it if we don't have a staff member that's already here doing that? Mr. Collins?
Commissioner Burks, we would just have to assign a staff member. We'd have to train them on the equipment and assign a staff member. To answer your question right now, I don't know who that person would be. But obviously, if this resolution passes, we will have to train someone to have them here.
How many meetings do we have each month, do you believe, total?
Each month, roughly half dozen.
Okay.
Planning Commission work sessions, BOC meetings, BOC work sessions, Park and Landscape Board, and then any other additional meetings that may take place.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
I have a first by Commissioner Lucas, a second by Commissioner Burks. Is there any discussion?
I have a question. So the September the 9th, I believe, the Parks and Landscaping meeting that we initiated the first playground discussion, I know that Micah was here and recorded that. Was it not posted anywhere?
No, we don't post the work sessions. We post the business meetings.
The Parks and Landscaping meeting that night?
It was not posted. Right now, the policy is that you post your planning commission meetings, BOC meetings. The others are recorded for reference, but they're not posted. They're not put on Facebook Live.
Okay, thank you.
I would be interested to know if the city attorney or Mr. Collins have an opinion about workshop meetings being posted as a reason that they may be product of work environment and not necessarily an actually sanctioned call meeting.
Mayor, my only 2 points would be, first, just the staffing. We would have to make arrangements for that, and we could. My concern for this, and I don't want to confuse this with an effort not to make meetings public from my perception. Obviously, public meetings are public meetings. They all have a value and they all have their place. My experience with this has been that work sessions, obviously open to the public, we maintain minutes of those. You passed minutes tonight from the last work session. We maintain the minutes, we maintain the openness of those meetings, but historically, Fairview has put itself in a position to where it doesn't offer an opportunity to be candid at some of the work sessions. Oftentimes, the work sessions as they exist today are simply me providing information to the board for future consideration. We discussed some matters tonight where there's no action to take place tonight. There may be action in the future, but a lot of it is talking out loud, getting information, getting feedback to consider to go forward. So within that, my only fear would be that some of that ability or value is lost in that for fear of them becoming camera events or PR events rather than business events. That's my only concern for the process itself.
Mayor, I'd rather not comment about policy. I mean, I know that it's legal that you can do it or you could not do it. I mean,
All I wanted to hear. Thank you, sir. Is there any further discussion?
Mayor, would this resolution be for everything then, not only the board? the
Motion was
BOC?
all meetings.
At all meetings, okay.
I have one other question. So I know that you said you could do the staffing, but how much problem would that be, realistically? I know that we're lean staffed.
The situation we're in now with staffing is that Keith or Micah typically are operating the AV system. And obviously, we would have to expand those hours. Micah is salaried, so if we were to expand the hours and Micah was to run additional meetings, that we would need to look at an additional compensation in his salary to adjust for the known additional hours, because we can't do without Micah's position during the day. Keith is hourly, and we would need to look at his schedule. Both of them work in Public Works to figure out what the needs of those are, and then figure out the best one of those two could come in and cover the additional meetings and get the postings out. In addition to doing the work at the meetings, there's the work of transferring the data, saving the data, and getting the information out there. So there is work over and above just attendance at the meetings. It takes a little time, but that would be the process to do that. Would simply have to increase those hours in some form.
About how many hours are we talking about if they do the additional meetings and workshops? Kinda, sorta,
6 hours a month,
additional.
yes.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to a roll call vote. Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey,
Aye.
Mayor Blade.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 12, communication from the mayor and commissioners. Commissioner Burks.
One thing I want to do, Mr. McCoy, I really want to thank you for the work you're doing. I know with your employment that you have a lot going on right now, but you're still willing to take the time to assist the city and the citizens, and that's very much appreciated. Additionally, you've helped us with our barbecue competition, which, as I want to remind everybody, is October 26th at Bowie Park. Cooking will be, setup will be the night before, into the morning. Citizens showing up around about 12 o'clock. And there is also a cornhole competition. So I think right now, Ms. Rainey, we have 8 teams that you've gotten together.
I think 9. Isn't it 9
Nine.
now?
9.
Let's
8 to
say 9.
Okay. We'll just round to 10. Okay. So if anyone else is interested, please sign up. This is a fundraiser for the playground. If you don't want to sign up to be in it, come to it. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Dawson.
So today in history, in 1940, the U.S. Army adopted airborne and parachute soldiers. And the airborne troops were later used, obviously, in World War II, highly successful. And yesterday, we had 23 paratroopers that were injured during a jump. So our thoughts and prayers are with those soldiers and also with those families. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Lucas.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Rainey.
I would just like to reinforce Commissioner Burks. It's 12:30 when people will be coming, and tickets are $10 a piece. You can purchase those soon at First Bank, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
And if we run out of tickets, we have a way that we can stamp your hand so that you can still come and have lunch and sample the cooking. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd just like to recognize again our beautiful ladies from Fairview Community Education. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for what you do for our community. We're so grateful to you. Thank you so much. At this time, I'll obtain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.